Hey folks, this is Jake with Seattle Coffee Gear, and today we're going to be talking about the Breville Dynamic Duo, and we're going to be doing a crew review on this. The Dynamic Duo is actually a set of existing machines that Breville packages together at a slight discount so that you can be up and running at home with a fantastic espresso setup with as much ease as possible. So what this is a Breville Smart Grinder Pro and a Breville dual boiler espresso machine. And both of these combined make up the Dynamic Duo, and they make a really great match. So let's talk about the Smart Grinder Pro first. We've talked about this before, but it is a really nice grinder for all sorts of brew methods. It does well in espresso. It's a little bit clumpy at the really fine ranges, almost down into the Turkish range, but otherwise it's great. It has 60 grind settings, and they're step settings, so you can adjust between each one, which makes it really easy to go between drip brew in the morning, maybe an afternoon espresso, and then back to drip, maybe a decaf in the evening, and you can switch back and forth. Super easy. You just have to remember the grind size that you were at before. It comes with a catch bin for the grounds if you're going to be doing a whole pot, and this holds up to 12 cups of coffee, which is about 60 to 70 grams. And it also comes with two magnetic portafilter holders. It has one for the dual boilers here, which is the 58 millimeter, the same one used as would be on like an Oracle Touch. And it also comes with a slightly smaller 50 to 54 millimeter portafilter holder, and you'd use that for the machines like the Barista Express, the Infuser, the Bambino, things like that. Now on to the dual boiler. The dual boiler's been around for a long time. This is the BES 920, so it is the model that can be descaled, the newest model that they have. And it comes with all the fixins. You get a Claro Swiss water filter in the box. I took it out so that we can go ahead and install it once we're brewing. You get 4 baskets. I've got a double non-pressurized basket inside of the 58 millimeter portafilter here. You also get a double dual wall pressurized basket, a single dual wall pressurized basket, and then the single non-pressurized basket. So you got the full array there. You got everything but ESE pods for this machine. You also get a really nice 20-ounce steaming pitcher with it. It is pretty good quality. I really like the pour on the Breville steaming pitchers, so it's a really nice inclusion so that you don't really have to be buying anything else. You get a little cleaning / maintenance kit, and what this has is the 58 millimeter back flushing disc. And for those of you who don't know, Breville did pretty recently change the back flushing discs here. Some of the older models, especially the smaller machines like the Barista Express, the Infuser, they tended to have a hole through the cleaning disc. Breville has now removed that so that the 3-way valve can actually work with full back pressure instead of water coming out of the portafilter spouts as they did before. You also get the steam tip cleaning tool, which is nice. It's a very thin tool that you'd use to unclog your steam wand whenever the machine prompts you to do so. And you get an Allen key. Definitely keep this in the tray, accessory tray underneath the drip tray, because if you ever need to change your shower screen, this is exactly what you're going to need. It's pretty easy size to find, but it's just nice to have one handy and laying around. And last but not least, of course, with the Breville machines, you get the razor. This is a really nice tool that allows you to get in there and level off your dose without having to tamp first. It's a nice, easy way to get into espresso, especially if you haven't brewed before, or just to get really consistent results. I tend to find it underdoses just a little bit for the double baskets on the 58 millimeter, but it does a really great job at making things consistent every single time. So if you want to use it, go ahead. I kind of think of it as training wheels, but I also really like it. So with that being said, the dual boiler here, I'm going to go over some of the features of it. The dual boiler, as the name would imply, is a dual boiler machine. That means that the brew boiler and the steam boiler are separate, so they're on opposite sides of the machines. This is good for a couple of reasons. It gives you better temperature stability for your brew if you are going to be steaming at the same time, as compared to, say, a heat exchanger machine where it's all built into one heating unit. And you can also brew and steam at the same time. So if your workflow in the morning is making a couple of lattes, a couple of cappuccinos, you can do that really quickly. The bounce back on this is great. the boilers are nice and big enough to make a couple drinks back to back, no problem, in the morning. You get adjustable temperature on both the brew boiler and the steam boiler, so it's nice if you want to turn down your temperature. If you're doing smaller drinks or maybe a cappuccino, you can turn up the steam temperature if you want to be doing like a latte, just to get a little more steam pressure in there. You have a single and double shot button as well as a manual shot button. What the manual shot button does, you push, it has a pre-infusion, you release, pre-infusion stops, and then you push it again to stop your shot after the time or volume that you would like has elapsed. Now the single and double cup buttons, they are programmable both by volume or by time. To program the buttons by time, what you want to do is just take your portafilter out, get into the programming menu, and then hit the 1 cup button, and once the time has elapsed, go ahead and push that. And if you want to be doing it by volume, prepare a shot, and you go through that same procedure, but then you go through with the shot in place and hit the button, and that will save your volume. So the dual boiler also does have dedicated hot water for an Americano, for your tea, and it does also have an auto start, which is great in the mornings if you want to have this machine start at a certain time. Warm-up time on this is about 10 to 15 minutes, probably 15 minutes if you want to have it really fully saturated. But 10 minutes will get you up to the temperature that you're wanting to brew at so that the machine is ready to brew. With that being said, let's go ahead and start brewing. I'll be back. I'm going to grab some milk and we're going to start grinding and brewing. All right, so I'm back and I've grabbed some milk, and one thing that I forgot to mention before I took a break here is one of the nicest parts of these larger Breville machines is actually their drip tray. And not because of the size or anything like that, because of the feature that it actually has under here. The Breville already has a top-loading water tank, so you pour water into this slot and it fills the water tank up in the back, which is a really great feature so that you don't have to pull it out too often. But if you have really deep counters or tall counters that facilitate that even this top-loading water tank filler does not work for you, there is a set of wheels on the bottom so that you can roll this pretty heavy machine back and forwards. I could do it with 2 fingers. It's super easy and super mobile once you unlock those wheels. And then once you lock it down back into place, machine's solid, it's steady, it's ready to go. And you also have a really nice tool storage area. It's where I like to keep the baskets, those cleaning tools, the steam one, cleaning tip, the Allen key, things like that. And they stay nice and safe in here, and you're never going to lose them. And that just slides on into the back. And then the drip tray goes back on. So, to get started, I actually have my 58 millimeter portafilter fork here. And how I am going to install this, super simple. You take it with the arrow facing back and you just slide it onto 2 tabs, and it's magnetic, so you'll hear it click right into place. And you're pretty much ready to go. The Smart Grinder Pro works by time. You can also set it to a shots/cups, but I do like to just use the manual time function on this. It's easier for me to keep track, and it's not as arbitrary as, say, cups of coffee or shots of espresso. This way, especially if you're using a scale, you can really get yourself dialed in those 0.2 second increments that it gives you. Currently, on this medium roast coffee from Brandywine, I'm going to be doing a 19-second grind time at a grind size of 9. I found that to work really well in the double basket here. So, I'm going to go ahead and insert the portafilter, and it's just a click to start it. Super simple. So from that 20-second grind time, you can tell, the Smart Grinder Pro is not the fastest grinder out in the world. It's not the most consistent grinder, compared to like a $1,000 grinder out there. But for a wide range of home brewing needs, which is where Breville really tries to focus, is those home brewers that want to have a little bit more technology, but be able to do all sorts of things with their home coffee routine. I think the Smart Grinder Pro is perfect, especially you can switch back and forth so easily. 10 extra seconds to get a shot is not that bad. I mean, you can go ahead and dial this in for your, precision brewer in the afternoon and dial it right back into espresso in the afternoon. I think that's a really handy feature there. So I've got my coffee here. I'm just going to level it out a little bit. And then you take your tamper, which is built right in, and you're going to want to go ahead and give it a nice solid tamp. And we're going to go ahead and lock that into the portafilter here. Now, Breville machines are notorious for having really tight silicone gaskets in the group head. Even for me, this machine being brand new, it can be really, really hard to get this in. I almost had to brace myself against it. So, that's completely normal on a new machine. They use a really long-lasting silicone gasket, and instead of say a rubber one, and it does get a little tight as the machine is new. Over time, a month or two of working the portafilter in and out, works a lot better, a lot smoother. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that in the group head to keep it warm, but I'm going to steam my milk first. And steaming on the dual boiler is super easy. There's plenty of power. The steam tip is really nice, and because it's a dual boiler, you don't have to wait for it to heat up like a thermoblock or a single boiler machine. So I've got 6 ounces of milk here, and I'm just going to go ahead and flip the steam lever on and get steaming. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my cloth. Of course, always give your steam tip a nice wipe and just a little purge. And there you go. And now we're ready to brew our espresso. So I've got the milk. I'm going to set it aside. And we are doing a double shot. So I'm just going to be using 1 shot pitcher here. And it's as simple as pressing the 2-shot button. If I wanted to do a manual shot, you certainly can, but I'm just going to go ahead and let the machine basically think for itself. So all right, so it went a little long, so I was running just a little bit coarse on here. Next time I might start with an 8 or a 7, but the 25-second shot timer definitely helped me understand that that was probably a little coarse, or I could increase my dose a little bit to get a slightly better shot. But I'm going to see how the shot tastes in just a moment as it cools down. It's probably going to be a little under-extracted, a little sour, but next time, with that shot timer and the barometer on here, it's really super simple to see what you need for next time. Very bright, very hot, very, very hot, almost tongue burning hot right out of the spouts, which is a good sign. The dual boiler tends to run really hot, both in the brew boiler and in the steam boiler, which is really good for temperature stability. You want your shots to be nice and hot at the group so that they can extract really well. And this is a nice, slightly under-extracted, but pretty well balanced shot for given the shot time that I achieved here. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that latte. And the milk texture on here is really good. There is the steam tip on here. It's a little bit large, so it can be just a little awkward at first when you're getting to learn it. But over time, you know, the steam pressure and the steam temperature really makes up for that. Well, there you have it. I guess I might as well call myself Picasso. So let me go ahead and give it a taste. Yeah, hot, creamy. You know, that's definitely like a cafe quality drink there. Even though I did under extract it a little bit, you know, get all dialed in and it is good to go. Yeah, really, really good, really, really hot. So, you know, if you're making a couple of drinks back to back, this first drink is going to stay pretty warm while your second drink's being made. You know, if you have a friend, family, or loved one to share some coffee drinks with, this is a really great machine for a little bit higher volume than like a smaller single boiler machine or a thermoblock. And of course, with the Smart Grinder Pro included with the Dynamic Duo, you're getting the best of both worlds, because a lot of times, you know, what's a machine without a grinder? What's a grinder without a machine? Well, Breville has the answer, and that's the Dynamic Duo. So we want to thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on our videos, and we'll see you next time.